There is one thing, in the sin tax law, yung excise taxes on alcohol, cigarette,
PhilHealth yun.
automatically yan, nakalagay dun sa batas, X% of the collection will go to PhilHealth. Hindi nila binibigay. Batas yun. Dapat sumunod ang Congress kasi batas nila yon. Sila nag-enact noon. Ginawa nila yung batas, ayaw nila sundin ang batas nila. They should automatically give it.
Yeah.
Bakit ayaw nila sundin yung batas na ginawa nila?
Dahil
what's going on, Sir Ronald?
sinful kasi sila.
Sir Ronald, I mean, justice is being very juridically. Sir Ronald, what is going on here? First with the PhilHealth scandal, now with this budget mumbo-jumbo.
It's an election year. It's an election year. You need a lot of unprogrammed funds, no? You need a lot of flood control projects, no? You need a lot of Ayuda. You need a lot of all those things, insertions, no? Pero ngayon, hindi na insertions dahil nakalantad na, unprogrammed funds
So where do you get that those funds?
Yes. Tinaasan ang DPWH, no? Mas mataas ngayon ang DPWH kaysa sa DepEd. Exactly against the Constitution, no? Exactly against the Constitution. So hindi lang ito simpleng common sense. This is unconstitutional. Di ba? Ito yung problema rito.
So who could step in? Is there a referee? Is there can the Supreme Court step in to resolve this issue?
Yeah,
this
there's a
crazy.
pending case now. Kasama ko doon. We filed it. Madami. Sila Cielo Magno and all the rest questioning the transfer of funds.
Right.
Hindi naman excess funds. Sabi ni Recto, excess funds ito. Nag-certify yung president and other executives of PhilHealth, yung financial statement nila for the first quarter of 2024, negative equity
Exactly, yeah.
So walang excess funds.
Pero justice, itong mga taong ito, they should know better. Ano ba talaga to? Nagkukam ba sila? Feign ba sila ng ignorance? No? Talaga bang hindi nila alam? Dahil itong mga taong ito, may karanasan na dyan Alam nila, hindi lang to practice, di ba, sa industry, no? Hindi lang to common sense, hindi lang to usapin ng legality, no? So what's happening, no?
Well, sinabi mo na
Nagawa mo siya, Ronald. Wait lang. You are supposed to answer that. No, Justice. Don't do that. Sir Ronald, kaya ka nandito. Nung panahon nyo, mayroon bang ganito? I mean, not your time. I mean, during Duterte's time, mayroon bang ganito?
Well,
This is quite crazy.
alimawa, ang si Pinoy kasi very conservative dyan
Sa fiscal
no,
issues.
yung sa SSS, no? May mga gusto na doblehin yung benefits ng mga senior. Ang sabi ni Pinoy, meron ba tayong actuarial study dyan?
Right,
Ang pinag-uusapan dyan, yung
Siyensya.
sustainability ng institusyon. Hindi lamang yung popularity mo sa susunod na eleksyon, which is very popular. Kung mag-i-increase ka ng benefit, popular yan.
Yeah.
Pero masusustain ba yan? Katulad ng ginawa ni Tigong sa military and police, no? Yan ba ay sustainable? Meron bang study na, or magko-collapse yan? Halimbawa, yung PhilHealth,
Right.
no? Magko-collapse yan kung wala yung reserve funds, no? Hindi siya magiging viable as an institution, no? Ang sinasabi ko lang, hindi naman tayo magaling Very basic yung pinag-uusapan natin. Bakit ito mga experts na ito, talaga bang hindi nila alam? Which, kung hindi talaga nila alam, they don't have any, dapat wala sila sa position na yun. Or, alam nila, pero nagmamaang-maangan sila.
What about okay, let's spell it out. What about what Senator Grace has been saying na you need a warning shot para umayos na sila? You need this. Isn't
Ang
this...
premise nga nila, these are savings. What
Okay,
warning
so-
shot? Warning shot for what?
So you cannot warning shot based on a premise which is questionable to begin with in terms of
Yeah, well, ang dulo dito, sinabi mo nga, election year ngayon. And they have to increase the budget for the House and the Senate and also for the DPWH because that's where they will get the
hirap ng trabaho na. We're tiptoeing around the issue.
projects.
Yeah.
So, saan nila kukunin yung pera? Nakita nila yung PhilHealth may 400 billion. Kinuha nila.
Yeah.
And not only that, PDIC, lumipat na sila 100 billion. Alam mo, delikado yun because that's
Isa
the
pa yan.
financial
Isa
statement.
pa yan.
Financial institutions and banking institutions ang involved dyan. Delikado yan.
Di ba may sarili silang charter, yung mga yan?
Well, takot lahat yan sila Kasi pwede sila tanggalin kung umalma sila. If they don't agree, tatanggalin sila.
Pero only the executive can take them out. Hindi naman Congress di ba?
Yeah, pero of course, hindi naman gagawin ng Congress ito kung hindi kasama yung executive. Kita mo sa PhilHealth,
Yeah.
they will play along. So yun, it's very, I don't want to talk about it, yung PDIC.
We have Ronald Llamas here, expressly, Senior Llamas.
Tayo pa naman, wala tayong health insurance. So, aasa lang tayong
Kaya
dalawa
nga,
sa
mga
PhilHealth.
freelancers lang tayo. Mga patay gutom
Wala
tayo.
tayong 13th month pay, wala
Ay,
tayong
tayo,
Christmas po, wala tayong health insurance. PhilHealth lang tayo. Tapos ganyan pa yung
Sir
mangyayari sa
Ronald,
PhilHealth.
hindi naman tayo nagdaman magreklamo ng personal issues. Pero I get you. I feel
Yeah,
you.
just to emphasize the point.
Na
di
may
ba?
stake tayo.
Oo. Hindi, tsaka kung sakaling in the future magkaroon ng kaunting savings, dapat gagastusin yun for beneficiaries. Dapat gagastusin yun doon sa premium, di ba? Dapat doon kinagastos yun dahil lahat yan ay, bawa, yung mga binabanggit ni Justice sa mga sin taxes na dapat napupunta, yung part na yun, di ba? Dapat doon napupunta yan. Lalo na, sa study ng PhilHealth, less than 10% sa Class E ang nakikinabang sa benefits. Hindi nga nila alam kung yung rights nila Sa PhilHealth,
exactly.
bahagi pa dyan is education Di ba?
Exactly, yeah.
Basta, ang klaro ngayon, tinanggalan nila ang pera yung PhilHealth, hindi nila binigyan ng appropriation, pero yung lumobo yung budget ng House, ng Senate,
Yun,
at saka
yeah.
DPWs. That is the picture.
It's the balloon. Yung president, tignan lumaki dito sa
Oo.
Ikaw,
Hindi.
RJ, man of the street, kunyari, man of the street. Anong narinig mo dito sa budget issues na yan? To be honest, huwag kang ma-conscious. Kunyari, man of the street.
May health
Hindi ka
insurance,
totally
may health insurance ka ba?
Meron sa company, but parang kung sa normal na tao, parang hindi to
Mahirap,
masyado,
oo.
hindi ko masyado, nangingialam, di ba?
Oo.
Parang mas controversial yung mga ibang issues, like yung nangyayari kay Sarah, ganyan.
Gusto niya palitan yung topic. Sige lang, RJ. Thank you. Yan, maganda itong interactive audience natin, sir. Thank you, sir, RJ. Mamaya na tayo sa impeachment. Dito muna tayo, Sir Ronald. Do you think even by historical precedents, compared to previous, like pre-election cycles, medyo next level na itong controversies na nakita natin ngayon?
Ngayon kasi parang unhinged Yung guardrails, ipis mo yung guardrails na wala No, yun yung delikado rito. Not only setting a precedent, where are the guardrails? No? Where are the guardrails para sa ating mga institusyon to protect not only the institution, but the beneficiaries of those institutions, di ba? Tapos, ang dami nating mga pinag-uusapan ng mga fundamental na problema, especially about drugs, pogos, no, EJK, human rights. Nadadivert kayo yung attention ngayon natin dito sa issue na ito, di ba? Kaya...
Or maybe it's because some thought we are already distracted by other issues, including what RJ was saying, na baka malusot nila yan. Maybe it's actually that way.
I doubt it. Mukhang ito talaga, ang dominant talaga rito, it's election year.
Yeah.
No? At desperate yung mga leaders natin, no? To
To
have
make
the
sure,
wherewithal to win. No?
Yeah, but they're in a dilemma because they've transferred funds from PhilHealth to their pork barrel, but that will be used against them in the election.
Yeah.
May pundo nga sila, pero may issue naman ng kalaban nila.
Mukhang they don't care. No? Yun ang,
Because they think it will carry the day. Basta you have liquidity.
Yeah, mukhang ganyan nga. Pero it's well, when the people understand what's happening, I don't know what they will do because
Yeah.
In their calculation kasi, pag yung mga tao naka-receive ng ayuda, ng tupad, ng kahit anong mga tulong, makakalimutan nila yung legality, makakalimutan nila yung commonsensical issues nito, no? Kailangan ipaalala sa mga tao, yung binibigay sa kanila ay kanila naman talaga.
Right.
Diba? Kanila naman talaga yun Hindi yun utang na loob. Hindi yun pondo para iboto yung nagbigay. No?
in other words, yung pera na yon dapat sa kanila yon.
Yes.
Kinuha, tapos binigay sa kanila,
Bahagi.
sa ayuda,
Bahagi.
"Hoy, may utang na loob kayo sa amin."
Yes. Boto niyo ako. No? Boto
So,
niyo kami.
naloko sila. Kasi talagang sa kanila na yung pera na yun.
Nabudol, no?
Sila.
Well, it's basically personalization of public funds. Dapat wala kang utang na loob. Ito yung utang ng Estado sa'yo dahil sa
Hindi,
buwis natin.
alam naman natin na clientelist yung ating sistema. Ini-scale up pa nila.
Next
No?
level.
Ini-scale up pa nila. No? Mismo yung mga mga institusyon na dapat kulang na nga sa serbisyo, binawasan pa. Di ba? PhilHealth, DepEd, etc. No? Masyadong glaring. Masyadong glaring yung ginawa.
What do you think is the problem, Sir Ron? I also asked Justice about this, but in fairness naman, over the past 10 years, fastest growing tayo, per capita are twice, malaki na yung middle class natin, we are one of the biggest middle class in the region.
But those are functionalities eh. Diba? Yung essences nakakalimutan eh. Yun yung mahalaga. Kaya bakit ang taas
What do you mean in terms of mobilization?
Hindi lang, hindi. Yung quality of life. No? Kasi tinitignan mo our numbers.
Yeah.
No? Pero yung
Macro.
bakit 49% ang self-rated poverty ng mga tao? The biggest in almost 2 decades. Bakit nangyayari yan? No? Sinasabi mo sa numbers, fastest growing ka.
Yeah.
Ang very stable ang unemployment, no? Etc. Pero yung underemployment,
Ang
malaki,
laki,
di ba?
highest.
O sasabihin mo yung inflation bumaba into 2.4 to 3%. Pero yung food inflation is 10%.
Yeah.
Eh, yun ang nararamdaman ng tao, yung sikmura. Di ba? So, ang sinasabi ko, functional enhancement. Ina-enhance mo yung functions ng economy na akala mo, these numbers are essences. These numbers are superfluous dun sa essences ng sikmura, ng mga health benefits. Yun yung mahalaga di ba? Yun ang nakakalimutan.
Sir Ronald, I think you're imbibing the Gramsci Italian culture a little
Hindi ko na nga binanggit
Medyo hegemony. Justice, etong Ayuda culture nito, bakit parang lumalala over the years kaysa mag-improve considering we're supposed to, over the years, sana umasenso yung demokrasya natin. I mean, there's more discussion, right? There's vlogs like this, podcasts like this, everyone's talking about it. How come parang more shameless pa yung Ayuda culture natin?
Yeah. Well, the Ayuda concept in itself is good. Ang problema, ginagamit yung Ayuda for a political purpose.
Right.
So, ang nangyayari ngayon, yung tao expect the Ayuda tuwing election. So, and we cannot sustain it. Hindi sustainable ito. Kasi, if you look at the entire budget,
Right.
about 40% lang ang generated will come from our revenue. 60% utang yun.
Yes.
Laki, no?
Mm.
So yung 60% ng ayuda, utang yun.
We have approximately 1 trillion debt every year.
Yeah.
So,
a bit more.
in other words, ang policy mo ngayon is to borrow money para ibigay to give it as ayuda para yung politiko ma-re-elect.
Hmm.
Yun ang nangyayari ngayon. That's why you're asking me, anong mali dyan? Well, mali yan kasi uutang ka para yung politiko makabigay ng ayuda para ma-re-elect siya.
He'll get the credit.
So we're actually financing the election of the
Yeah,
politiko.
At the expense of future generations.
Yeah.
At sinong babayad ng utang ngayon?
Future generation.
Yung lahat ng tao na bumibili na subject to tax, subject to excise tax, subject to VAT. Galing sa VAT yan. So everybody who buys anything na nagbabayad ng VAT, nagko-contribute yan.
As yung sinasabi mo na cup half full about the economy, it's not actually full. No? Dahil saan nanggagaling yung sinasabi mong growth? Nanggagaling yan sa remittances.
Real estate.
Na record high. Saan nanggagaling yan? No? Doon sa mga rent-seeking sections ng ating economy. Di ba? Saan nanggagaling yan? Government spending, consumption.
Yeah.
No? Yung mga fundamentals ng ating ekonomiya are not growing. Where is agriculture? Where is industry? Where is manufacturing? No? Where are the direct investments? No? Yun yung dapat nating tignan. No? Dahil fastest growing ka, pero hindi nararamdaman ng tao. Diba?
Yeah. I have a problem with that.
Sorry.
Fastest growing. Bakit tayo, we're going down in the ranking. We've been overtaken by Vietnam.
Indonesia.
Malapit na tayo overtake ng Cambodia.
Sana naman yung Cambodia. Huwag na sana. Parang isara na natin yung shop. That's it. Okay, natapos na. Sorry, Justice. I mean, I love Cambodia.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
15 years ago, people said, no, Vietnam can never overtake us. It's just overtaken us.
Halimbawa, ang learning poverty ng Vietnam is 21%. Ang learning poverty natin is 91%.
Sir Ronald, you cannot compare kasi Vietnam is top 10 in science and math.
Yes, engineering.
Vietnam is like way above its economic development.
But in the
level,
60s, tayo ang the best, halimbawa sa engineering. Lahat ng mga engineering student dito sa
Mapua,
region,
Mapua.
dito pupunta. Management students dito pupunta.
Philippine
no?
Rice Institute
Diba?
sa Los Baños.
Ang agriculture, saan sila pupunta? Dito, sa Erie, no? So, sinasabi ko lang na we have to fix our house, no?
Now, speaking of fixing the house, so essentially, siguro I think all of us can agree that lack of inclusive economic development, all of itong mga problema nakita natin, lack of safety, ito ay reflection ng something rotten about our political system or leadership to be. Now, speaking of how things are rotten, just the other day we saw in South Korea, they impeached the one president who dared in recent memory to play the Cold War, playbook of ito mga North Koreans yan, we have to. So sobrang paya siya. Even the party mates of Kim Jong-un nang tawag sa kanya, President Yoon, voted against him eventually after a first try, and kanina lang umaga, grabe yung celebration in Korea, around the parliament, etc.
Baka makulong pa yan. Hindi lang
Makulong pa yan. The defense minister has already been arrested. Now, as crazy as the martial law was, it mas wonderful pa yung pushback at saka yung mobilization. And Korea transitioned to democracy a year or two after we returned to democracy. They never had democracy before that. We had democracy, then returned to it. So, bakit ganyan yung political system natin compared to Korea? Just I want to understand first from your point of view before we go to Antonio Gramsci and our senyor. From your, what's exceptionally problematic with our political system kumpara sa mga bansa na yan? Because Vietnam is a one-party communist system. Korea is a two-party democratic system. And yet, lahat sila nagpa-progress. Something is going right. Ano yung wala sa atin sa palagay niyo, Justice?
Well, the majority of the people are educated enough to understand what's happening.
So, critical thinking.
Yeah, critical thinking.
Yeah.
We had that before because we were electing good people to the Senate.
Jovito Salonga.
I mean, noon, they will vote for somebody who's brilliant, who has a good track record. Ngayon, ang track record ngayon, papakita nila, convicted sila, nananalo pa rin. So, I think...
Hindi sana magaling sila. Ibang wise. Yeah.
I think that's holding us back because I think the media dumbed down the people.
Yeah. Sensationalist.
Yeah, because yung nagkaroon sila ng ratings war, dati 'di ba every TV show, every movie may there's a moral to the story.
Yeah.
A moral lesson to everything. Ngayon wala na eh. Magpatawa ka lang, okay ka na eh. Kahit regardless of what's the purpose, wala eh. Dati there's always a message. A message that good will prevail over bad. Ganyan palagi eh. Ngayon wala na. So, wala na yung value system natin. The South Koreans have that value system. We have lost that value
Yung
system.
norms, no?
Yes.
Yung norms, yeah.
The Japanese also have that.
The Japanese have a value system.
Yeah.
Tayo, nawala yung value system. Because media just had a ratings war. So, wala na. Kung nagpapatawa ka, slapstick, yun na ang criterion ngayon.
Sir Ronald, ikaw, I mean, it's not like wala rin corporate media yung ibang bansa, no? Again, none of us are media experts. Alam mo, mababash na naman ako, di ba? What was exceptionally wrong? I mean, we had one of our guests, di ba, ay dating nag-work sa ABS-CBN tapos lumabas pa, tapos dahil inis siya sa nangyari sa TV Patrol. Patay, sensationalist, chika, di ba? Tapos yung paggamit ng Ingles. Wala namang problema na gamitin natin ng Tagalog, Bisaya, Ilocano. Pero dati yung paggamit ng Ingles sa ating media ay normal, di ba? Or at least may subtitle. Natanggal lahat yan. So, you use the term guardrails. Parang wala na rin guardrails sa media. Anything basta rating wars.
Yeah. That's an important aspect ng ating problema. Itong culture wars, di ba?
Yeah.
Pero yan
or
kasi,
cultural deterioration.
Yes. Pero ito kasi hindi standalone.
Yeah.
May symbiotic relationship yan sa ating political system at sa ating economic system.
Right.
They perpetuate each other, di ba? Itong mga system na ito, di ba? Kaya, halimbawa, indicative, no? Party list. It was supposed to be for marginalized sectors. It's now dominated by billionaires, no?
Yeah.
Yung aspeto na yan. Tingnan mo yung salin ng mga nasa party list kayo.
Declared pa yan.
Oh, these are billionaires, no? These are contractors. Tingin ng mga contractors, imbis na magbibigay kami sa mga politiko, no?
Diretso
Kami
na.
na lang, diretso na. Kaya ang dami ngayong mga congressmen, mga party list na mga contractors, no? Punta tayo sa mas malalim, mas pervasive. 80% ng ating politicians are linked sa mga dynasties. At yung mga dynasties nakalink sa mga cartels who control our agriculture, who control our industries, no? Itong halimbawa, classic ngayon yung regulatory capture, halimbawa sa energy. Only one family controls all those regulatory institutions from DOE to Fiscal to NEA to ERC, etc. So, ngayon ako nakakita ng ganyan. Dati may competition pa eh. So, these are reflections ng ating political system. At in a way, yung ating economic system. At kaya yung culture natin, ganyan din, no?
Yeah.
Most of those who control our political and economic system also control our media. Diba? Control.
Incestuous relationships.
Yes, yan yung problema. Kaya hindi ko siya sasabihin na ito lang ang problema. Lahat yan ay may relasyon sa isa't isa.
Parang na-criticize ka ni Ronald, sir. Parang sabi na hindi malalim yung sinabi. Paawayin ko kayong dalawa. I'm just kidding.
Our problem now is the political dynasties.
Right.
Yeah.
Sabi ng saligang batas, Congress must pass a law prohibiting or regulating political dynasties. They've never passed that law. Ilang taon na, mga almost 40 years na.
Yes.
Yung party list naman sa saligang batas nakalagay doon. For the first 3 terms, there will be a party list system to be composed exclusively of marginalized sector.
Yeah.
But dapat doon nagkaroon ng political dynasty law para buksan na lahat kasi the Constitution limited the party list system only to 3 terms. How do you now assure na the marginalized will continue through the anti-political dynasty law?
Yes.
Hindi nila pinasa yung anti-political dynasty law. So, walang guardrails.
Yeah.
Law.
In the meantime, sabi ng Supreme Court, and I wrote that, tapos na yung 3 years. Dapat niyang buksan na lahat
Three
yan.
terms.
Kaya
Three
lang,
terms,
yung katapat doon, dapat yung guardrail doon, yung anti-dynasty law, hindi pinasa. Kaya nagkaletse-letse tayo.
May sinasabi sila, Justice, na kahit wala yung implementing rules, no? May sapat daw na component yung
For executive order or
constitutional
something?
provision sa Constitution against dynasties para na-implement na yon. May nagsasabi ng ang tawag nila, may term silang tawag eh. No?
There is, sabi nila, there is already a law because of the Kabataang Barangay.
Yes.
May prohibition on relatives. No?
Right.
Well, we can try that, no? But I doubt if it can go either way. But what we should do is pressure Congress. There's a petition now sa Supreme Court by the group of Rico Domingo asking the Supreme Court to order this Congress to pass the law. Matagal na eh. Nakalagay naman, Congress shall enact law prohibiting or regulating political
But with
dynasty.
80% of Congress related directly or indirectly sa dynasty, is that feasible?
Yes.
Diba?
Ang gagawin dapat, at least, we hope that the Supreme Court will say, Congress, you are mandated, you have to pass the law. No, sobra ng katagal. And then the people can pressure.
Right.
Alam mo, this will work if only the people will pressure. Pag natutulog tayo, walang mangyari.
Pero pwede bang gawin ng Supreme Court yun?
Because the Supreme Court is just following the Constitution, Congress shall. So the Supreme Court will just repeat that. Congress, you shall. So it's time now to pass it now.
So you still believe that it could work if there's bottom-up pressure?
Yeah, but there will be more pressure now on Congress kasi sinabi ng Supreme Court na you have to pass it now. So there will be pressure now. So
Yes.
I hope the Supreme Court will
say that.
Will say that. You have to pass it now kasi ang tagal na. Grave abuse of discretion
Yeah.
na yan. Pwedeng sabihin ng Supreme Court yan.
But just let me push back a little bit because one concern raised also with the Supreme Court is that, I mean, no offense to the institution represented, is that over the years it also didn't necessarily act as an arbiter of progress. That sometimes it reinforced or enabled the system. One of the criticism is dun sa verdict ng Supreme Court on the party list issue. What constitutes a marginalized groups and who can represent the marginalized groups? What is your take on that?
Well,
that your institution, former institution, enabled the perpetuation or deterioration of the system?
Doon sa party list naman, we just follow the Constitution. The Constitution says for the first 3 terms of Congress, there will be party list composed of marginalized.
Right.
So, for the first 3 terms lang. After that, nag-expire na. So, we said, nag-expire na yung ano.
So, you open up.
Ang sinasabi ni Justice, there could have been guardrails.
The
At
guardrail
yung anti-dynasty provision ng Constitution
Ang
would be the
akin kasi
guardrails.
is, can the Supreme Court engage in positive legislation? Because we see in the US sometimes the Supreme Court pushes the envelope when there is a paralysis and all of that.
ang hirap kasi...
Activist Supreme Court, in effect,
Well,
I'm pushing for, yeah.
Positive, sabihin ng Supreme Court, klaro yung sinabi ng Constitution for the first
Right.
3 terms. Ang katapat niyan is the anti-dynasty law. Ipasa na ninyo yan. Yun ang activist Supreme Court.
Activist Supreme Court. Yun nga, I was thinking about that. Okay, so that opens up this conversation of some people have just given up. Like, this is not gonna work. Let's go for charter change. Because soon we'll talk about the impeachment issue. For a moment, let's park the impeachment issue. Let's say, hypothetically, Sara gets impeached, let's say by January. I know you don't believe that will happen, but let's say, let's go with the Ronald Llamas school of thought, right? Senor Llamas.
That's not my school.
Ikaw January, I think Trillanes is May, right? Ako, sabing ko May, pero hindi ko na along taon. Yung excuse natin. Sanabi ko September, but not what year. Just kidding, just. But going back to this, let's just say for some reason, smooth operation, wala na yung mga Dutertes. Now suddenly, Pogi said after elections, they go for charter change. Why should we say no to that? In the sense that maybe charter change is the only way forward. Kasi wala eh. This system is unreformable na eh. Na baka you need to reset the deck. What are our issues
Well,
there, Justice?
Ako, I'm for charter change provided it is a constitutional convention. Not the
Con-con,
House.
yeah.
Kasi that's not the House
Not
of...
Con-as,
not
Con-con.
Congress. Because
Yeah.
Con-as, that's
Insider's game.
insider's game. That's self-interest yun.
Yeah.
It has to be a new body elected
From people.
and I think there will be a new sentiment now, no? Pag if we at saka dapat yung election hindi by district kasi kung by district yung asawa lang ng congressman matakbo niya.
Right.
It should by region.
Right.
Because the last in the 1970 Constitutional Convention election by province eh.
Yeah.
Tsaka Metro Manila was considered one province.
Right.
So madaming nakapasok na mga doktor, mga
Professionals.
professionals. But if you will make it by district, the same family will be elected.
Yes.
So-
I agree with Justice Carpio na dapat talaga constitutional convention, no? Yung
So you're okay in theory or in principle with the
pero
con-con?
pero dapat dagdagan 'yon dahil if you legislate if you change the political system, halimbawa to a federal system overnight, you will be federating warlordism. You will be federating social
They'll be kings
inequality.
of their own. Little
Dapat
kings,
merong minimum reforms before that happens,
Yeah.
no? You will create enclaves of poverty and enclaves of wealth. Yun yung mangyayari. Then, dapat dyan may economic... may
equalization muna.
may feasibility study dyan eh. Ano bang mga regions yung on their own hindi kakayanin? Ano yung mga regions na
Which is
sobra?
majority.
Oo.
I mean, we in NCR actually are funding most of the
Yes.
provinces, including Davao.
Dahil ang mga successful federal system, nagsimula sila as self-governing bodies eh.
Malaysia, Switzerland,
Na federate.
Oh, yeah.
Yun yung strength niyan eh. Or halimbawa, yung matagal nang hinihingi na i-disband ng private armies. Kung hindi yan madi-disband, they will be dominating the federal system.
Yeah.
Ang parliamentary system naman is good. Pero ang parliamentary system is based on real political parties. Hindi yung mga parties na nabuo
Okay,
overnight.
but Ronald,
Like last
that
election.
raises a chicken or egg question.
Oh.
You want to come in? Yeah. Ito na, mainit na yung discussion.
federalism naman, my analysis is that it will not pass in a constitutional convention because let's say only 2 or 3 regions will be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
All the rest will be waiting for dole out from the national government.
Fiscal
So
transfers.
they will not agree. Let's say Abra, yung northern Luzon, they will not agree to become a federal system, federal state, because they will have to raise their own
Hindi pa handa.
budget.
Oo, hindi pa kami handa.
And no, they don't generate enough taxes there. They rely on the IRA, national.
Yeah.
In fact, only I think three areas in the I think Metro Manila, Cebu, and partly Davao will be self-sufficient. All the rest will be waiting for
Fiscal transfers. Yeah.
fiscal transfers.
Yeah.
So I don't think it will pass.
Pero
the-
Justice, ang naman kasi iba-ibang models yan eh. Halimbawa, you have a French centralist system which is more and more becoming federal. And you have other federal system which is just becoming more and more centralist.
Well, it's always a hybrid,
So
right?
it's always a hybrid.
Yeah, it's always